Not a good day for the markets today with the Trump effect hitting it very, very hard. All the indices were in the red, with Nifty at 80 basis points down, mid cap at 110 basis points down, small cap 150 basis points down, and micro cap 120 basis points down. Only two sectors, FMCG and auto, were marginally in the green, whereas every sector was hurt. What caused it? Well, in some form or the other, it was Trump, and because two things happened. One is he 11 consecutive days of strikes on Iran means that the war is not showing any sign of end, and clearly America has some goals which they are out to achieve. So oil reacted very badly today, was up $4 to 94.55. So that created a very negative impact. Though the dollar index or the US interest rates, they all don't show that impact. So Brent is the direct one which has impact for India. Second one, we got a hint of it yesterday when I spoke that he had brought in tariffs on Canada, right, to the extent of 50%. Well, today it was much worse. He talked about touching the holy cow, which is Indian pharma generics. So far, he had been introducing thought process about product-related tariffs on pharma so far, but yesterday and today was the first time that he clearly set out saying that there will be 100% tariff even on generics not made in the US by August 2028, and by August 2029 it will be 200%. So these two combined, Brent plus the pharma news, created a panic across the market, and DIIs, FIIs, and Needy were all heavy sellers. But believe it or not, two things happened. One is that pharma, after a huge negative reaction to the announcement, actually recovered during the day to end up only 1.3% down. So there was a realization. I'll talk a little bit about it a bit later. The second was that FIs and DIs, while they were sellers, were less than 1,000 crores each. I think FIs, if I remember right, sold about 820 crores and DIs sold about 420 crores. Second consecutive day of DIs selling. So yesterday I explained that it was because they were conserving cash, but today it does appear that while that could be a motive, there is also a bit of panic due to this, both the combined effect of the oil and the pharma news. But this less than 1,000 crores of sales by both of them does not explain the broad-based sell of the market, because the advance decline ratio was very, very bad. 800 stocks only advanced, 875 to be precise, against 2,120 stocks which declined. So clearly Needy has panicked, selling across the board almost 2,000 stocks today. So as a result, because pharma recovered, one would have thought that pharma would have been the worst performing index today. No. What is the worst? All those which were very highly rate sensitive. Because the Brent crude price plus on the monsoon, I'll try and give an update tomorrow, but on the monsoon itself, while the progress has been good, the rice crop sowing has been good, the pulses crop sowing has not been great. So to that extent, food inflation impact, oil going past 95 means that the RBI policy is again creating a fear. It's only in August, but it's creating a fear that rates will not come down. So all the rate sensitives, that is realty, PSU banks, private banks, all of them fell. Of course, pharma in the middle with 1.3. So realty fell 2.6%, PSU banks fell 1.83%, IT continued its negative with 1.5%, and consumer durables was also down with almost 86 basis points. So clearly, what I think the Brent crude spike today had a far greater impact than the pharma spike, but combined together, they meant that domestic investors panicked today. Right? Now let me dwell a little bit on the Brent crude. I can't say much. The oil, whether Mr. Trump's going to escalate the attacks, which oil can get worse. So it's very hard to guess that. The pharma news, however, one thing is that it's more scary than it seems. Okay, first of all, I think it could be a negotiating tactic for Trump to enter into trade deals which are favorable, because it is practically impossible that in 2 years a pharma company outside the US, now India is not the only exporter of pharma to the US, right, will come and set up a full-fledged factory, get FDA approvals, and do all of that. So it's practical, highly impractical. Second is that India-US trade deal is still being negotiated. So I'm sure that pharma will now feature in a big way in it, and India will try to extract some concessions. So it may turn out. Third, I said is that, see, this whole tariff thing now, already Supreme Court had turned down Trump's tariff. Now he's finding new ways. Like I said, he discovered a section 338 for the Canada tariffs. Now I don't know what section he's found to this. So is there a chance that the US court can rule it over? Third is that these generic drugs, 90% of the prescription drugs in the US are generic drugs. So large number of people will be affected because this tariff price or the higher cost, because India's labor cost is 40 to 60% cheaper than American labor cost. So if they produce it in America, the product is going to be that much costlier. So whether it's 100% costlier, 200% costlier, or 40 to 60%, ultimately the cost is going to go up for the US consumer. Now there is a programs called the Obama Healthcare and all that, which the government picks up the cost. So the US government itself will pay the higher cost. So one doesn't know what is the purpose of this. He wants to force them to manufacture in the US, and thereby that cost will increase. But can the US government afford that increased cost? So again, this is something that Mr. Trump always starts off with the thing, and definitely there will be adjustments to it and thing to it. And politically, if you look at it, August 2028 is the first, but in another 4 months from then, whether Mr. Trump cannot continue as president, right? This is the second term, and last he cannot have another term. So will the new president who comes in then again continue or not continue? So a whole lot of question mark. So I would say that if you're already holding a pharma portfolio, you do not panic. Don't go and sell in this panic. Is it a time to buy? Well, if you already hold a pharma portfolio, then it's not a bad time to start averaging it. But if you don't hold pharma and do you think there's a buying opportunity, I would say hold on, because the volatility could still be there. There's no clarity, it's just an announcement. So wait for some time, but definitely this correction, what I see, is unwarranted. And so you can start buying in dips, but give it a little bit of time if you're a new entrant into the pharma space. Finally, whatever if I say buy in dips and all of that, remember, buy the whole pharma pack. Everybody is trying to pick, saying, oh, this company is got more US concentration, and they do that. Second, this company has already got a plant in the US, so that don't try to discriminate. Buy the diversified pharma pack, because pharma contains US oriented pharma, it contains European and other emerging markets selling pharma, it contains domestic pharma, it contains hospitals, it contains diagnostic companies. So have a diversified portfolio, and it contains hospitals. So have a diversified healthcare portfolio where pharma is one bit, but definitely the correction, that is, it's a buying opportunity. But like I said, if you already hold pharma, don't panic right now. You can start averaging it. But if you don't hold it yet, wait for a bit before you start accumulating. That's on the pharma space I wanted to add to you. I'll give an update. The Wednesday, today evening, is the monsoon update, but it may take too much time. I already spent about 8 minutes on this. So I'll try and record another video tomorrow, giving a detail on the monsoon update and the sowing update and how it is implication it has for food inflation tomorrow. I look forward to that. Thank you.